In this video, we'll show you how to change the rear axle shaft on your Ram 1500. You can find it on CarParts.com via the link in the description. For safety reasons, we strongly suggest watching our video on how to jack your Ram 1500 safely. Remove the brake system. To do so, we recommend watching our video, How to Replace the Rear Brakes Ram 1500. For this kind of operation, it is important to always start by unscrewing the filler hole plug, because if it remains stuck after draining the fluid, the vehicle will be immobilized. Lift the front and rear of your vehicle, allowing your Ram 1500 to be level, so that you can remove all of the fluid. Unscrew the filler hole plug using a ratchet and an 8mm Allen socket. Start the process with the ratchet and finish it off by hand. Place a fluid collection tray under the differential to catch the differential fluid that will flow out. Unscrew the drain plug using a ratchet and a 14mm Allen socket. Start the process with the ratchet. And finish it off by hand. Be careful on the last few turns. The fluid can squirt suddenly. Let the fluid run out for about 10 minutes. Using a fork, unclip all the clips located on the differential cover. Using a ratchet and a long 13mm socket, unscrew the 12 bolts holding the differential cover. Caution: access is difficult. You can use a wrench or an extender. You can see in these images the various tools to be used depending on access. Remove the differential cover. You can use a flathead screwdriver and a hammer. For great content, our best price, and fast shipping, download the CarParts.com app now. Set the gear shift lever to neutral so that you can easily turn the differential and access the pinion shaft lock bolt. You can now freely rotate the drive shaft in order to access the pinion shaft lock bolt. Using an 8mm wrench, unscrew the lock bolt from the pinion shaft. Then remove it. You can now extract the pinion shaft by pushing it outward. The retaining clip is very difficult to remove. To remove it, push on the end of the rear axle shaft. This will create the space needed to remove the clip. Then, take out the remaining clip. You can now remove the rear axle shaft. Once the rear axle shaft has been removed, we strongly advise you to replace the rear axle bearing and its seals. To do so, we recommend watching the video, How to Replace the Rear Axle Bearing, Ram 1500. You can order the rear axle shaft used in the video on CarParts.com via the link in the description. Take the new rear axle shaft and insert it all the way into its slot. Then reinsert the retaining clip. Then pull on the axle shaft to block the retaining clip in its housing so that you can insert the pinion shaft. Reinsert the pinion shaft. Rotate the axle shaft so that you can replace the lock bolt. Roughly put it back in place. Screw it back on until it makes contact. Finish tightening using a torque wrench. Before replacing the differential cover, you need to clean the seal surface to ensure a perfect seal. Remove the used seal with a razor blade. Then scrub with an abrasive sponge. Finish with brake cleaner and wipe with a paper towel. Protect the differential with a clean cloth. Repeat the same operations on the differential. Remove the cloth. Once perfectly clean, thinly apply silicone gasket maker in order to ensure a perfect seal on the differential. Take your time, using this technique shown in the video. Replace the differential cover, first tightening the bolts by hand. Then screw them back in with a ratchet until they make contact. Finish tightening the bolts in staggered order using a torque wrench. Put the retaining clips back in place. Clean the differential's drain plug well because it is magnetic and there is often grime left on it. And screw it back in with a ratchet until it makes contact. Finish tightening using a torque wrench. Now you need to add fluid back into the differential. This step must be done with care and precision. You can order the differential fluid used in the video on CarParts.com via the link in the description. Then, using an oil syringe or a bottle with a filling spout, fill the differential until the fluid overflows from the hole, indicating that you have added enough fluid to the differential. Now you can screw the filler cap back on. Finish tightening using a torque wrench. Clean up the fluid that overflowed from the differential. Replace the brake system. To do so, we recommend watching our video, How to Replace the Rear Brakes Ram 1500. Then you will be able to put the wheels back on your vehicle. Put your truck back on the ground before properly fixing the wheels in place. Operation complete.
Quality parts, priced right, CarParts.com.